Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is May 29th. Happy Memorial Day. Now, celebrations similar to our modern Memorial Day might have started in ancient times. Way back in 431 BC, soldiers killed in the Peloponnesian War were honored with a public funeral and speech given by Greek statesman Pericles. This is thought to be the first communal ceremony recognizing those who gave their life in war. Now, year after year, ancient Greeks and Romans hosted similar commemorations. Now, one of the first Memorial Day celebrations in the United States was by newly freed enslaved men, women, and children on May 1st, 1865, in Charleston, South Carolina. Not long after the Civil War ended, freed enslaved peoples, members of the U.S. colored troops, and some locals organized a ceremony to bury Union troops who died due to horrendous conditions of a prison created at what was once a racetrack. They honored the dead by singing hymns and placing flowers on their graves. An archway over the cemetery was engraved with the words, "Martyrs of the Race Course." In 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which established Memorial Day as the last Monday in May, in order to create a three-day weekend for federal employees. But Memorial Day didn't actually become an official federal holiday until 1971. Now, one sacred tradition of Memorial Day is that the president places a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. For decades, presidents visited the revered site to pay tribute to all who died fighting for their country. All right, on our show today, we have Village Management Services, Manor Alterations with Director Bart Mejia and Michael Horton. Let's take a look at our weather. Well, our weather is looking still partly cloudy for today. Hopefully we'll see the sun. We are looking at temperatures of 70, 56, 63, 55, 64, 56, 63, 56, and 63, 57. Our sunrise this morning was at 5:44, and our sunset will be at 7:52. Now, just to let you know that today, this afternoon at 1 o'clock, we are going to have the Memorial Day ceremony. This will be at 1 o'clock this afternoon at the Performing Arts Center. They do ask for a $5 donation. Proceeds will go to Operation Comfort Soldiers, so don't miss that today if you can make that out there. All right, when we come back, we will have Director Bart Mejia and Michael Horton with Manor Alterations. Stay tuned.
Some people's legacies are written on monuments. Yours can be written on lives. The Salvation Army has financial planning options to help plan your estate. Our planned giving advisors are professionals with years of experience who care about your goals. We are dedicated to exploring the financial advantages of each gift opportunity and partnering with you to leave a legacy. Contact the Salvation Army today to learn how confidential, personal financial planning can help you achieve your goals while transforming lives across our community.
Seniors fear running out of money more than death itself, and the number one mistake you can make is underestimating volatility, which can derail your retirement. For 35 years now, I've coached seniors to financial independence by using two simple rules: never take big losses and create income along the way. It's your financial future. Call now to get a free risk analysis to ensure your investments are protected, and we'll send you our Safer Money System, 949-219-0692.
Are you struggling to hear in your noisy dining room? Do you have to pause and think about what people are saying so you can figure out the words? Do you find yourself lost in conversations? Can you hear but you don't understand the words people are saying? You need to get on the Ark. No, not Noah's Ark. This is Stewart's Ark hearing aids with artificial intelligence. You will never know how much better you can hear until you listen to the clear sound and noise right in our office. Call us today. Don't miss the boat, and tell them Stewart sent you.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have Manor Alterations Department here, and we have Bart and Michael. Well, welcome both of you. It's very nice to have you on.
I am happy to be here. My name is Bart Mejia. I'm the Assistant Director of the Maintenance and Construction Department, and I oversee 3 divisions. I oversee manor alterations, I oversee projects, and damage restoration. Today, I am happy to be here to talk about manor alterations and the improvements that we have made to manor alterations and to provide better customer service.
Fantastic. And then, Michael, why don't we have you go ahead and introduce yourself as well?
Michael Horton. I joined Manor Alterations about 3 months ago.
Oh, okay.
But I'm obviously not new to the industry. I was licensed in 1967, third generation contractor, which is clearly before I was born. And we built our first custom home in 1972. Oh. And I jokingly like to say, for an Orange County kid, I had my first car accident in a tractor in 1979. Oh. Wiped out the electrical box. So I've been on a job site and been building custom homes and homeowners associations like this for a long, basically since I was created.
Okay, all right, fun. And then how about you? How did you get into this position?
So I am a professional engineer. And I've been practicing engineering for the past 35 years. I am a past city engineer with the City of Costa Mesa, and now I am helping the community, bringing my experience and knowledge and put it into practice. As I mentioned, the 3 divisions that I oversee fit perfectly within my skill set, and I tell you, I am impressed with the community, and I am happy to assist.
That's excellent. And you know, it's kind of nice to have 2 different backgrounds, right? Because you're coming from handling a very large area, and then yourself, you've got the HOA stuff, which is great because we have 3 HOAs, and we have a very large community that is like a city.
It is, and it functions like a city as well.
Exactly, exactly. All right, so you're here to tell us a little bit about, you know, what Manor Alterations is as a whole, and what are some of the things that you guys have been changing to streamline the process?
So, and I am happy to start with that.
Okay.
So, you know, not too long ago, Manor Alterations has had a few issues with the processing of mutual consents, variances, responding to emails, responding to phone calls, and that is all due to a number of factors that affected manor alterations. That included illnesses, vacancies, and it was very difficult to find qualified staff to fill those open positions.
Right.
We worked very hard with our human resources to find qualified staff, and we have been fortunate to have found qualified staff so that now all of those open positions have been filled, including that of the manor alterations manager, which is why we have Mr. Mike Horton here with us, and he is already making a difference. So some of the things that we have done to improve customer service in transition, and now that Mike is here, we will continue to do that, but it has been all hands on deck. We couldn't do this all by ourselves. We needed the help from other departments. We had to also hire consultants. We hired temp agencies to help us with inspections, mutual consents, with intake. But more importantly, we work very closely with committees and boards to discuss and come up with solutions to some of the processes that we had in place. We had old standards. We had old ways of doing things that were taking way too long. And we have worked with them very closely. We have come up with solutions that have helped improve on customer service. We work very closely with the city, which was another critical item that we needed to work on, and that is defining our respective roles. How much work do we need to do? How much work do they do? Again, with the assistance of boards and committees, we have defined what those roles are. Okay. Where our main focus now is on looking at our rules and regulations and not duplicating city efforts.
That's good. Michael, so tell me a little bit about, you know, how this may differ, because you've got 3 different HOAs and 3 different sections versus maybe what you've been used to before. What are some of the challenges there?
Well, so a little bit back, I went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo for construction management and project management. So the first thing I did is when I came in is I looked at our people, our process, and then our policies and procedures. Because with United and Third, they have different policies and procedures. Our people, which I was very fortunate, they've been here for a minute now, and so and your best asset is always your people. So then once I assessed that my people were qualified and very competent in their positions, we looked at the process and how we could streamline it. So and then I looked at what the feedback was from our surveys. So as a plug to the community, if you get a survey, we'd love to hear back from you guys. It is very helpful for us to clean up the process and the procedure. But so that's what I did. So because United's a little bit different than the Third, Third's a little bit different than United. But we can have things that are streamlined and economies of scale for both of those. And then we just do some fine tuning for each board.
Okay. One thing that you mentioned is talking about what the city is responsible for and what our community is responsible for. What are some things that you found that the city may have not been attending to? Was there anything in particular?
So in the past, we were taking on roles, we were taking on steps that overlap city services.
I see.
The city is responsible for code compliance, and this is part of defining our respective roles. We are responsible for the enforcement of the mutual rules and regulations. So there was that overlap where in the past we were doing some of the work that the city should have been doing, and vice versa. So we hold regular meetings with the city to coordinate and to talk about some of these issues and how we can improve our service to our members.
Right. Okay. Perfect. And then I was looking at one of your slides here, and you're talking about resale inspections, which you said you had hired some people to help you out with that. Do you have somebody specific now that is just for resale inspections?
We do. We have a recent hire, which is a permanent full-time position.
Great.
And we were fortunate to have attracted the interest of this inspector from our sister development in Seal Beach. And he brings with him a lot of experience already, so he hit the ground running. He's already helping us with resales inspections, and he also assists with inspections for mutual consents.
Right, right. Now, when you come across somebody that hasn't gotten any authorizations to do something internally, what do you generally have to do?
So we run into some of those issues, and that's part of the work that we do. Those are unauthorized improvements or alterations. We either find them during our inspections or when members report those unauthorized inspections. We will proceed to inspect those and issue correction notices. We work with the member to bring them into compliance.
Okay, got it. All right, so let's jump in on some of the things that you guys are changing and improving your processes. So you have mutual consent process improvements. What are some things that you've done there?
So with the mutual consent process, the first thing that we did is, as I mentioned before, is the plan check process, where now we limit that to checking for rules and regulations that the mutuals have.
Okay.
We have improved that time, the time that it takes to review those and provide that approval if it meets all of the requirements, so that the member can proceed then to the city and get and obtain the proper city permits if those are required.
Okay, all right.
We have taken some of the more common types of mutual consents that we had in the past that did not require a mutual consent per se. We only needed some information. And for those, we have also streamlined that process.
Okay.
I was just going to add, in the slide that's shown up in the background, previous in 2022, it took like 3 or 4 weeks to get the process approved.
Oh, wow.
Which is, for any resident, everybody that's done a remodel of their home, we don't want to not have a kitchen for 3 or 4 weeks while this is processed, right? So we've gotten it down to 5 days, which is very important. So, and the question you asked previously about not approvable and it's a violation within our codes, but it was understandable because they didn't want to wait that long duration. And so, but the importance of now that we've got it down to 5 business days and a great working relationship with the city so that you can actually have your permits pulled and then have your consent done by us, which is meeting the architectural standard, there's really no reason to circumvent that anymore.
Perfect. That's great information. Okay, good. So let's move on to, you have mutual consent submission metrics. So what are we looking at?
Mike?
Okay, so that is our IAT department with Chuck, and he is just a wealth of knowledge. And so what we just did is as a new manager, I wanted to see what we did last year, and I wanted to see how long it took us. So if you can, with that chart, in the short version of this, is we did the exact amount of submissions last quarter, the first quarter of 22, as we did this year, except we did it in 3 to 5 business days this year, and last year we did it in 3 to 4 weeks.
Wow.
So as I said, our people are, the team that we have is a fantastic team, and it really is our best asset.
Well, you must be getting some great feedback from the residents.
I'm
With this kind of
smiling.
process,
Yeah,
I
yes.
mean, they must be very happy with that.
We do. We get positive feedback, and I think that we not always get positive feedback, and that's why Mike mentioned earlier about the survey and providing the feedback to us. But what is also just as important is that we are not getting as many complaints as we did in the past, and that too is a measurable target for us.
No news might be good news, right? All right, so let's move on to variance and resale processes, because we talked a little bit about that.
So let's start with a variance is an alteration that does not fit a standard. And for that, we have a process. The mutuals have adopted a process to submit variances and go through the approval process.
Okay.
That process used to take 3 to 4 months. We have taken steps, and it varies by mutual, but in essence, it's the same, essentially the same approach, where we expedite the review process. We look at those variances that are more commonly used, and we've worked with the committees and boards to standardize some of those so that we can expedite what used to be the variance process. Now it is a mutual consent process, and that is kind of much faster.
Great, great. And then for your resale procedures?
So resales, as for our team, for the man alterations team, includes the inspection of units to make sure that they're in compliance with mutual rules and regulations. That used to take 3 to 4 weeks to complete a first inspection. A first inspection is the most important one.
Right.
And that will tell us what is existing and if there are any corrections that need to be made. We have worked very hard with the community, with our realtors, to let them know that it is important to get the first inspection done as early as possible. So if there are any corrections that need to be made, there is time to go through a normal process. Some of those corrections may require a mutual consent. Some may require a city permit, and all of that takes time. So we want to encourage, and you can ask for, you can request a first inspection at any time. It's good for 180 days, so that if you're thinking about selling your property, get that done as soon as possible.
Right.
And that way you know if you need to make any corrections.
And is there any charge for that, or is that a complimentary?
Mike?
On the resale inspections, the first part of the inspection is a $60 charge. The second part for the final report and the release, I believe, is about 75 or 90.
So that's really part of your sale process, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The important thing is resale inspections. There's 2 parts of the inspection. There's the inspection that our inspectors do for the compliance of the community and the boards, which is the 2 different boards. And then when the buyer has their independent or third-party inspector, which is the one that makes sure that your shower and your P-traps and all that work correctly. But the important part that Bart's talking about is that we want to ensure that the new buyer and the seller have done everything which is in code and compliance, with our procedures.
Right, okay, perfect. Okay, so email and telephone responses. It sounds, I know they've been working very hard to make sure that this is of the highest excellence in response times. Looks like you're doing pretty good.
So emails, it is a compounding problem. When we had our issues or the problems with staffing, with illnesses and COVID, and when we were doing those extra plan checks, submittals for mutual consents are done through an email system, and it was taking too long to process them.
Yeah.
And what that was doing also at the same time is when our members or contractors did not get a response within a few days, they will send a follow-up email. So that was building up, and we had to find a way to get to those, bring it up to current. The same was with telephone and voicemail messages, and that's one of the first things that we started doing, and we worked. That's where we got additional help from consultants,
Right.
temp agency, and even other departments to help us with that backlog.
Good.
Unfortunately, I'm very happy to report that that backlog of emails and voicemail messages has been brought to current. And Mike has a few updates when it comes to that, because he has been now integral in the final steps required to bring that and bring them to current.
Right, and we have a chart on the next one that you can see the difference between the amount of emails and then versus what we've done already in Q1. And did you want to make a comment to that?
Yeah, so back to actually assessing when we looked at, because they all feed upon one another, and, right? And so when they were doing the mutual consent, I just looked at what were the bottlenecks in the process that were holding them up, and then those bottlenecks were, clearly explaining our certificate of insurance as a requirement and responsibility of the contractor, and then also the air clearance report. And then when we dug deep into the emails, multiple emails about the same subject matter. So we fixed those two processes, and then this is just the first quarter. Now, when we look at April, our total amount of emails has gone down by like 30% because the questions are being answered up front.
Right.
So it's just streamlining. So back to the surveys, it's important to get the feedback because we are listening, and
Perfect.
then we're trying to fix it.
Well, excellent. So going forward then, what are some of the things that you're going to be working on going forward?
So our work is just starting right now. We will continue to work with boards, committees, members, contractors, realtors to find ways to improve processes that we have in place to improve on customer service.
Right.
We are currently updating more standards, standards that may be obsolete or they're outdated, bring them up to current, finding ways to expedite things, either modifying or creating new standards for those types of variances that are commonly used, and continue to work closely with the city so that we continue to work together as a team and provide the best customer service that we can.
Yeah. I think a great example of that is that water heaters. The codes and compliance for water heaters have changed over the last decade.
Right.
And so instead of it being a complete submission of approval to have it swapped out, we've done it on one page. We have an immediate permit pulled through the city, and now they can get that process. They can submit the process and have it approved in a day, and they can get their contractor out and have it actually everything done and signed off in 5 business days, and away they go.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. Sounds like you guys have achieved quite a bit in the short amount of time that you've both been here.
Thank you. We're happy.
All right, excellent. If you want more information about anything that we have discussed, you can always email Manor Alterations at alterations@vmsinc.org. We'll be right back.
Are you or someone you know facing financial challenges from unexpected emergency expenses? The foundation of Laguna Woods Village can provide the temporary help you need. Meals on Wheels, adult day services, dental services, medical alert services, and ambulance contracts. Contact the Village Social Services at 949-597-4267 to see if you qualify. Neighbors helping neighbors. The mission of the foundation of Laguna Woods Village.
Welcome to Harvard Eye Associates. We're focused on your eye care at all 3 of our Orange County locations.
our new location in Laguna Hills, Orange, and San Clemente.
Each facility features the latest in advanced technology and diagnostic equipment.
And a trusted collection of doctors that care about your vision and your quality of life.
We deliver what matters to you and your family.
Harvard Eye Associates, the future of vision today.
Orcam Read empowers people with low vision.
Sometimes reading can be a challenge. With Orcam Read, just point and click. Read at work. Read a recipe. Read a magazine. Read anything you want. Orcam Read.